Hi there, folks. Mork calling Orson. Come in, Orson. So this is my first live stream, so I don't know if it's working. I'm using my Logitech camera for video and audio, so please let me know if you can hear this. I mean, to be honest, if you can't hear me, that might be an advantage, I don't know. And I will apologise, there is no live English, Scottish to English translation. What can I say? I'm listening to myself on my phone. Sorry about that. So please do let me. Please type a one. Watched a couple of these before. Please type a one in the chat if you can hear me and see me, and then I'll know that all is good. Yes. No. Continue on. So some housekeeping rules. Keeping rules. If the fire alarm sounds, the exits over there, and I'll see you in the pub in the corner in about 10 minutes. I've got my stunt. Got my stunt lager with me just in case I get too nervous on this evening's first stream. So thank you for joining me. So I've got my show notes here. Videos coming this month. So I said it's New Wave of British Heavy Metal month. I'm a confessed New Wave of British Heavy Metal fan. Love it. Fantastic time of music, I guess. 79, 1980, I was 14, just getting into music for the first time. And hearing all these bands, it was an exciting time for music. So it's a huge influence on me and my guitar playing career. So I've got another 3 Diamond Head videos. I've recorded them. They're scheduled to go. I've got more props here. I've got a tank. Doing a tank cover as well. I won't tell you which one at this stage. And I was thinking this when I was doing this. I thought, 2 Saxon albums, Strong Arm of the Law and Denim and Leather. Very difficult to say which one is best. I mean, every week I change which one's best. Well, I'll go with a song from Denim and Leather. So I've recorded about that, and I'm going to do a bit of an intro as well. I'm going to talk about one of the songs, which was about the Castle Donington Monsters of Rock Festival, 1980, and the bands played on. So I'm doing that. New gear. I've got some new gear. If you're interested in seeing my new gear, what have I got? My show. I've got 2 new juniors. Two new juniors. I'll show you them. Got a vintage brand. I mean, it's not made in 1958. Vintage brand junior. So I bought this second hand. This just came in yesterday. I think these are about $250 new, but I've not set up or anything. Just a wee sort of strum. Nice, substantial neck on it, and the other junior is. Okay, this one's still got the tags on. Still got the old taggers. Harley Benton, as you can see. Look, I don't know if this will come across, but the shiny Harley Benton Junior. I mean, to be honest, like playing this, just strumming this and strumming the vintage, it's like they're the same guitar. I mean, they're both made in Indonesia. I don't know if they're the same. I guess the same factory, but big neck on this as well. So that's my 2 juniors. So in January, I'm going to be doing a video with my Gibson Custom Shop Junior, and I've got a 2019 Gibson Junior, which is all stock at the moment, against these 2 juniors. I'll be doing like 4 videos. I'll do a video on each one, and then at the end of the series, I'll do like a comparison video, and I'll be doing that in a rehearsal room because I've got a Zoom H2N, because I was watching the Lamb the other week there, and he did a video on how it's maybe better to have the room sound. It's all well and good me plugging into my interface and you hear the guitar, but I think it's maybe better if I do this in a rehearsal room, like through big amps, so you get a fairer representation of what the guitars sound like. So it'll be like 4 juniors and then a final video comparing them all together, and you can see what you think. Is the Gibson one worth £3,500? Is it X amount of times better than the Harley Benton vintage ones? I mean, I don't know. It's up to the viewer what they decide. So I've got that, and I also got the Mr. Dave Lewis recommended I get some Behringer pedals. I've never ever tried Behringer pedals, so I've got the FX 600, which has a bazillion effects on it. I think 3.5 million effects. Looks quite good. Well, beer's going right to my stomach. And yeah, I mean, I watched a couple of videos. This looks really good. The amount of sounds you get out of it. So I'll do this in the rehearsal room as well. And I also got another bare knuckle pickup. I've got a Stockholm P90. So I'm going to try this in the juniors. I mean, I won't be swapping the P90 out of my custom shop guitar, but I will swap the other P90s out with this bare knuckle Stockholm, which I think's got a massive output, something like 15k or something like that. So looking forward to trying them. So I'll do a video on that. And one last thing before I get around to answering any questions, if indeed there is any questions, I've got a couple of books off my mate Mike. All right, Mike, if you're watching. Guitars of the Stars. I couldn't believe he gave me this one. Rick Nielsen's guitars. I mean, you should see the pictures in this. So it's a hardback book. So Mike gave me this. This is fantastic. It's really good. And he also gave me this book as well, which I may do a sort of series on. I noticed Johnny on the Budget Guitar Show, he had done a few sort of classic guitars. This is Guitars That Shook the World. It's got Billy Gibbons customized Lone Star guitar. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if that shook the world. I think Billy Gibbons did, but I don't think that particular guitar did. And this one, Darrell's Dean. And I've got a story coming up on Christmas Eve. It's like an early Christmas present. It's a time that I was guitar taking at a gig. My mate's band was sporting Pantera in Glasgow in February 1993. God, that's a long time ago. And I was guitar taking for my friend's band, and it all went wrong. I mean, you need to watch the video. I was embarrassed when I was making it. I could feel my cheeks going red when I was making the video. And I've got another guitar actually. Hold on. I got this. A Derek Whibley from Sum 41. Now, if anybody's cheeky, they'll get a fat lip, as they say. So this is another Indonesian-made guitar, 2011, I think it was. It's funny, I ended up doing my Saxon video on this. It sounds great for the new wave of British heavy metal. So I mean, if you're thinking you shouldn't get Derek Whibley's guitar because you're a heavy metal guy, you know, I would recommend one of these bad boys. It's a really nice feeling guitar. And one final thing. I have a loaner. I've got a loan of this from my mate Gordon. Gordon, if you're watching, sir. Jaguar, or Jaguar, as the American folks say, Jaguar. Fender Japan, Jaguar. So I'm going to do a demo of this. I've never even played one of these before until I got this. So it's a 24-inch scale, I think. So I mean, it's shorter than a Gibson. It's a bit whammy. So yeah, I'll do a video. I'm going to take this to pieces and set it up for him, and I'll take this to the rehearsal room and give this a try as well. So that's what's coming up in January. Just took a dent out of that guitar. Right, so that's everything that's coming up. That's this month and next month. I see I've no long videos this month. I did a couple last month, you know, the P90 shootout and the Telecasters. I think one of them took me 14 hours, you know, from inception to finishing the video. And I thought, you know, it's Christmas, I've got a family, you know, I've got a teenager that needs, you know, attention. I need to keep him under control. And so I haven't done any long videos this month. So my long videos will be in January. So there we go. So I said I would answer any questions this evening. So it's funny when you're not interacting, nobody's speaking back to me, of course. So I'm going to answer any questions. If you have any questions at all, then I will answer them. So have a look. I might need to check the chat on my phone. if I could work this. Cheers, Dave. Sound and vision, all good. What's up? I can't believe there's people actually here, you know, listening to, and as I said, I apologise for my strong Scottish accent, but it is what it is, folks. You know, I'm in Scotland, I am Scottish. Oh no, you sold your Gunlord guitar, sold his Junior last week. Did you replace, do you still have your Firebird? Did you replace, and the 335 I think you had? Did you replace something? Hi Adam, how you doing, sir? Defiance Audio, a man who landed in, what was the name of the place in Argyllshire? Can't remember, but he told a story where he had an emergency landing in Scotland when he was in the military. Is it Machrihanish? He had an engine out when he was in the plane. I don't think he was a pilot. I think he was in the plane, and he had an emergency landing in Machrihanish, which, I mean, unless you're going there for the army, there is not a lot in Machrihanish in Scotland, but it is a beautiful. It's in Argyll, and it's a beautiful scenery. But I mean, you wouldn't go there unless your engine was on fire. What can I say? Dave Lewis, how do your juniors stack up against your Gibsons? Well, I haven't really played the Harley Benton one yet. That just came today. My wife answered the door, thankfully, when my new guitar arrived. I've got makeup on my black eye. So the vintage one. I mean, this is well made. When I was playing this, I had a 2015 Gibson Les Paul Junior, you know, the ones with a big huge wide fingerboard and like a brass nut, and it was an awful guitar. I mean, you know, I like Gibson guitars, but this was an awful guitar. This plays even just with tens on it. I mean, I play nines normally, even with tens on it, and I've just strummed this a few times and, you know, played some lead in that. This feels as good as my 2015 Junior, but I would say caveat that with the fact that the 2015 Juniors are exceptionally rubbish. So, but this feels really nice, and like I said, this and the Harley Benton feel, I don't think identical, because I think the fingerboards are different. I think the fingerboard material is different, but I mean, these must be made in the same factory on the same line, and they feel very, very similar. So once I get them set up, it will be interesting to see how they feel against Gibson guitars, you know. And it's, you know, it's always a minefield. If you do a video on Gibson guitars, people who don't like Gibson guitars and like Harley Benton will chip in and say, "Oh, Gibson guitars are rubbish." And if you do the other way around, you know, people chip in and say that's rubbish. But I own both, you know. I own Gibson guitars, I own Harley Benton guitars, I own vintage guitars. You know, it's, if you own them, you can try them against each other. I mean, you can't write a brand off just because you don't like a couple of things about it, you know. But so this feels, the vintage so far feels better than my 2015 Gibson Junior. Question 1 from Dave Lewis. Thank you, Dave. I was actually saying to Dave earlier, I was panicking today because we had an internet outage for the whole day yesterday. There was no internet signal, and my phone went down as well. So I thought, you know, I meant to be going live on Saturday at 6 o'clock. I didn't know what I was going to do. Crazy. Yeah, so Marco's done some. Oh, he's got rid of his Junior, Marco. Jeez, oh. The Living Above the 12th, the book, the Cheap Trick one, Rick Nielsen one. Yeah, I mean, when Mike gave me it, he said he'd looked at the prices on eBay and stuff, but he says, "No, I know you're a huge Cheap Trick fan, so you can have the book." I mean, it's brilliant. I've got something like I've got 3 copies of each of the first 200 Kerrangs, because I had them myself, and then over the years, when anybody's getting rid of stuff, it's like, Dunsy collects heavy metal. I mean, my wife must be tearing her hair out, you know, all the heavy metal I have. I've got 3 issues of each of the first 100 Kerrangs in a cupboard over there, you know. I don't know why. Scott guitars, yeah, the Junior comparison, it's going to be interesting. And I don't know if I'm going to do a blind test, because when you do, blind tests are the best, You know, like if I just do these 4 juniors and you're not seeing what they are, then comparison-wise, that's without a doubt the best video to do. But it's not an interesting video, like a blank screen when there's just sound, you know. So I guess you have to balance making the video interesting, but also making it fair on all the guitars. Because if, like I said earlier, you know, if I'm playing a £3,500 Gibson Custom Shop Junior, a lot of people will automatically assume that that is the best one. People like Gibson guitars will say, oh, that was by far the best. And I'm the same myself, you know. My ears deceive me when I watch videos as well. It's like, oh, that one must be the expensive one. And also by the same token, if I play the Harley Benton, which is, I think that was £160. So I mean, that's by far the cheapest of the 4 juniors. There will be a perception of people who think that those are just cheap guitars who will automatically say, oh, that wasn't as good. So, you know, it's a case of balancing entertainment and honesty in the video. So I may do a section of a video where it is just a blind test and you're not seeing what guitar I'm playing. But I mean, I will make it fair. I'm not going to change any EQs or anything to make anything sound bad when it doesn't. I'm just going to play them all with the stock pickups, and I'm going to have the amp set, everything at 12 o'clock, and just, I won't EQ anything differently. I'll just do them all exactly the same. So you're getting hopefully an honest opinion. You know, I'm not sponsored by anyone. I don't give, every guitar that's in this room has been bought by me. There's no sponsors on this channel. So I hope that will be an honest review, and it will be interesting to see which of the stock pickups sound best. And like I said, when I put the bare knuckle in, I won't be putting in the expensive guitar. I don't want to do that. But it'll be interesting to see what this sounds like in the more budget guitars, because I mean, this is almost the same price as a Harley Benton guitar. This was £130 or something like that. So I mean, this is only £30 cheaper than the whole Harley Benton guitar. As an aside, actually, I was really impressed with the Harley Benton. It comes with Wilkinson tuners. I didn't know it came with Wilkinson tuners, so it's got a high spec guitar and it looks beautiful. That silver sparkle. Oh, I saw somebody's Scottish, Dunsy, your boy. For the people who are not Scottish, this chap knows what he's talking about. Mr. Forbes, did you see your guitar earlier? I had to buy a blooming a wiggle stick for it. Didn't come with a wiggle stick. I was going to try and fashion one out like a coat hanger, but it's Gordon's guitar, so I didn't want to do that. And what? Marco's sold his Firebird as well. Is he taking up? Are you taking up ice skating or something like that? Sold you, dear. But he has something cool incoming, I bet. Does he have some in vintage? Marco, have you got something vintage coming in, perhaps? Oh, no way, Defiance Audio. I didn't realise you were the pilot. I thought from the way you described it that you were a passenger in the plane. Blooming hell, man. Yes, I can see why you'd want to go to Machrihanish in those particular circumstances. And you did say the people treated you really well. Like I say, it's a beautiful part of Scotland. I mean, it really is. But there's not a lot to do. There's not a lot to do in that area. But that's fantastic. You're an F111 pilot. Blooming heck. Good on you, sir. Hugh, how you doing? Cold in Glasgow. It's cold here. I was out at the shop earlier getting wine gums for my wife. I mean, I said to Dave Lewis the other day that people probably think, you know, my entire life just revolves around playing guitars and doing rock and roll stuff. But, you know, I'm just like everybody else. You know, I have to wash the dishes. And I said to Dave the other week there, my last weekend was, we had a carpet cleaner. So I spent my whole weekend cleaning carpets. It's not all guitar and rock and rolling in this house. Oh, there's John, Bit Bot Boom. Huge thank you to John for many things. One, he's fantastic in knowledge of new wavy British heavy metal, but two, he was the first person, it must be getting on to 2 years ago, who name checked me in a video. And he said, oh, you need to check Dunsy's channel out. He's talking about new wavy British heavy metal and stuff like that. And that was my response to that video was the very first time I ever did talking on a video. If you watch my early videos, it's just me well, could be argued as an improvement just here from to there, talking and playing the guitar. But because John did that video, I did a reply, and it was the first time I unveiled who I was on video. So huge thank you. He's a good guy, incredible knowledge of music in general, but he knew he was British heavy metal too. So thank you. I think he's originally from New York. He must have saw cool bands in New York back in the late 80s and 90s. Dave's got the blue Harley Benton Jr. Is that the one with the thicker neck, like quite a substantial neck? I was surprised with the. I mean, it's a beefy neck on this. I don't know if you can see that. It's a lot to hold, as it were. So yeah, I mean, the previous one I had, the DC one, I found the neck was too slim for me. It's like a Gibson 60s profile, but this one feels great. And I mean, even just, I say it came about 4 hours ago. There's no sharp fret ends or anything like that. It's just incredible finishing. I'm not sure what the fingerboard material is, but the vintage one looks like it's more like rosewood, but I don't think this is rosewood. But yeah, the one thing I do notice with these, and it was the same on my DC Junior, is the pickups. I mean, I can lower this a bit. I need to set this up. The action's a bit high. I mean, and the truss rod needs loosened a bit, so I can get the action down and take the bridge down a bit. But yeah, there's quite a big gap between the pickup and the string, so we need to see how that sounds. Hey. Yeah, Gordon's originally from just down the coast. He's moved to the back of beyond in the Scottish borders, you know. As he says, he's lucky he's got electricity. I don't think he has running water, and that's an area of Scotland where my understanding is they still have outside toilets. You know. Do I still play through an 800? If at all possible. Most of the gigs I do with Twisted Nerve are like 2 fly gigs. We do a lot of European shows, and we just do a weekend. You know, we'll fly in on Friday, play Friday, Saturday, and then like if we're going to Italy or something like that, we'll fly to Milan, play Milan, train down to Rome or something like that. And we always specify on our rider that I use a JCM 800. But I must admit, it's very rare I will show up to a gig and it's a JCM 800. It's normally anything that any backline you supply, but I do always specify an 800. I have one of the Blue Guitar Amp 1s, which does a brilliant representation of a JCM 800. So if I'm going to a show where I know there's not a JCM 800, I'll take the Blue Guitar Amp 1 and just use the house cab, and that sounds really like a JCM 800. Sounds really good. I mean, like I said, I'm not sponsored by anyone, but if you ever have the chance to get one of these Blue Guitar Amp 1s, I mean, they're a fantastic piece of kit. Definitely a fantastic piece of kit. But given the choice, I would always play through a Marshall JCM 800. Adam, how you doing, sir? I feel bad that anytime Adam comments on my videos, it takes me so long to get around to replying to people, and it always seems to be Adam that I'm last. So I always apologise to Adam that I'm. It's not deliberate. It's just I always end up replying to him last. I don't know why it is. Am I in the practice studio before Christmas? I think we're rehearsing next Thursday with my 70s covers band. We rehearsed last week, but the singer couldn't make it. So we hadn't rehearsed in almost 2 years. And like our set list is about 30 or 40 songs. So the 3 of us turned up, none of us can sing. And we hadn't played for 2 years. So, you know, needless to say, I didn't record it and post it on the internet. It was almost jazz in places, but not deliberately so. It was 3 guys who didn't know what they were doing all at the same time. And after every song, we all said, it'll be better when the singer's here. That was an excuse almost, you know. It's like, we didn't do that very well, but with the singers here, then it'll be fine. So yeah, I'm supposed to have a rehearsal next week. Interesting. It's a funny time, you know. I've done 3 gigs in 2 years. Played in London in August, Edinburgh in August, and then I played last week in Edinburgh as well. So I mean, 3 gigs in 2 years. That's the least amount of gigs I've been doing since my first gig in 1982. It's just, you know, it's just a crazy time. What can I say? The Pepsi Challenge. When you did your junior shootout video, which guitar had bare knuckle? I can't remember. Was that the one where was it the Melody Maker maybe? The Melody Maker. Oh no, the P90 challenge. The bare knuckle is in the Pete Townsend Les Paul, the gold top with the 3 pickups. I bought it used. I bought it second hand about a year ago or something. It's it shipped originally with the Gibson Mini Humbucker, like I think it's based on Pete's 77 Deluxe. Shipped originally with the Mini Humbucker, but the guy before me put the bare knuckle in, and I don't know what bare knuckle is, because bare knuckle pickups have no markings on them at all. So on that particular challenge, it was the Pete Townsend Gold Top. That's the one with the bare knuckle. On the Melody Maker one, I had the bare knuckle on both, and I used the same guitar on both. I just changed the pickup on that one. Eastman Les Paul. I've never tried Eastman guitars. Great looking, but obviously a second that had been returned. Terrible. Yeah, I've watched a few Ritz videos. I think he owns a shop, eh? I think he owns a shop, eh? I've never dealt with him personally. I wouldn't mind trying Eastman guitars though. I was saying to Dave Lewis, I'm going to employ Dave Lewis as my PR guy. I'm going to go on a retainer as my PR guy. But I was speaking to Dave the other week there, and I was saying in 2 years I've only been to a guitar shop twice. You know, even if I tried a certain guitar, but in this day and age, you know, it's almost pointless going to guitar. Anyway, I won't go into that. So yeah, I've never tried any. None of my friends own them either, so I've not even tried one. Dave Lewis has been playing his V. I love playing the V. I mean, I didn't have one for years. I had one when I was in my teenage years. What was it? Can't even remember what it was. I think I had an Ibanez Rocket Roll V at one point when I was maybe 18 or something like that. But I never had a V thereafter. And you know, I'm 55 years old, and I always thought, if you have there's my door. That's my wife getting her fast food delivered. I always thought like a V's for young people, you know. But I got that Aria FV550 Japanese one from 1980, and I love playing it. I mean, it's so light to play, but there's a certain part of you think, you know, I'm an old guy playing a V, but you know, you're only as old as the guitar you feel. And that guitar's only 41 years old, so that's all right. Hugh, yes. But Bob Boone, you're a good man, John. I can tell a good man on the internet when I see one, and you're a good man. Dunsy's Legs and Norm's vintage guitar video. That was someday we were on family holiday in Santa Monica, and my wife said to me, "What's the one thing you want to do?" And I says, "I want to go to Norm's guitar shop." So we went at 5 o'clock. I didn't drive when I was in America, but so I didn't quite anticipate 5 lanes of traffic jam for 30 miles. And we got there about 10 minutes before it closed. And just when it was closing, it was Mark Agnesi was doing the demos at that point in time. I just heard a commotion in the background, and they were saying, "Right, Mark, we're going to do the guitar of the day." So then the lady started filming it when I was in the background. And then when I got home, I was like, "Blooming heck, that's my legs." So my legs are in one of Norm's vintage guitar videos from summer 2019, I think it is. Best Scottish legs in the shop that day. That I can guarantee. Outside toilets, you know that. Well, you remember I'm from West Lothian. I mean, there's still outside toilets that way. Oh yeah, Dave, I mean, yeah, if you could hit the like button. I'm not very good at this marketing thing. If you could hit like, subscribe, and all that stuff. There's the lamb. Good evening, sir. Like I said, you were the person who, when you watched your video on the Zoom thing, saying that it's much better to have the room sound when you're doing demonstrations of gear. So my old Zoom had a Zoom H1 that I used to bootleg concerts with. I once got thrown out of a Michael Schenker group concert because I was bootlegging it in 1996 or something. You know, it wasn't when I was a kid. So anyway, I got a Zoom H2. So I'm going to be, my demos in the rehearsal room, I'll be recording with the Zoom H2. Thanks to the lamb. Thank you very much, sir, for that. I hope Dunsy is regular. I'm quite regular. Oh, I hope this is a regular. Well, I don't know. Maybe do one a month. I mean, I'm quite happy to chat. As my friends will tell you, I'm happy to just chat away about music and guitars. Maybe do one a month or something. I mean, there's a lot of streams, and all joking aside, I am conscious that my accent is perhaps not as understandable as some other people's. So we'll see. Dennis Tech from Radio Birdman played a Eastman. Oh, and John had a shot. Nice one, man. Birthday Telly, good Dave. I used it at the gig last week with Gothzilla. I don't have any footage from that gig, which, you know, may well be a blessing in disguise. I don't have any footage. Sounds great. Eh? It's a beautiful guitar. I mean, it's not a cheap guitar in any way, but it was when I tried that against the American Professional Dark Knight one, it was just so much better. I think it was an extra £300 or something, but yeah, I'm glad I got it. I mean, I still need to pay for it, but I'm glad I got it. Ha! Oh, Johnny Rockstar. Johnny Rockstar and I go back 55 years, because he's exactly 1 month younger than me, because he's my older cousin. A good guy. I've got, Johnny Rockstar, you'll be wishing you hadn't given here. I found this the other day and hold it up to the camera. That's me. That's Johnny Rockstar at the other side, and that's our first ever tour bus. That's Laffy the drummer. That's my mum and dad's house. Dukesy Hazzard style, entering our tour bus. That's a 1976 Opel Kadett Estate, and it was painted Jobby Brown. I think that's the official Ford colour or Opel colour, Jobby Brown. So there you go. Me, Johnny Rockstar, and Laffy Lafferty. I think that was 1985, something like that, 1985. Apologies, they're up. Sorry about that. White Ibanez V. Yeah, man, I think those Rocket Roll Vs are worth a lot of money now. The Ibanez ones, with the one that Bob Mould played. I think they're worth a pretty penny. It was funny because anytime I saw footage of Husker Du, Bob was always using the V, but then they did that gig in London when they came across here and did that Camden Palace, I think it was, and he was using, I think, an Ibanez Destroyer. He's obviously clearly a fan of the vintage Ibanez guitars. Entwistle HV58. I think I had, what was it? An SG. I bought an SG, Gibson SG standard, and it had an Entwistle Dark Matter or something like that. It was really, really high output, and that was in the neck, but it sounded good. I've not tried Entwistle pickups apart from that. Paul Watkins, how you doing, sir? How you doing, sir? Oh man, if you're not watching me, follow Johnny Rockstar. Like I say, Johnny Rockstar and I go back, you know, to when I was a month old and he was just born, and that's like the temperature, was it the thermostat in the Opel Kadett didn't work properly. Yeah. So I had to keep the heating on full. So the heating was on full. I mean, Scotland's not a very hot country anyway, but even in the middle of the summer, you know, the 1 week it is hot, the heating was on full to try and keep the engine cool. So wherever we went with Arizona, we had a trailer as well. Remember, we had a trailer. we were gearing it. The heating was always on full, so we're always driving about with the windows down, not because we thought we were cool. Well, we literally didn't think we were cool. We had to cool down because the blooming heating was on in the car, full blast all the time. Oh, my Opel Cadet estate. Dear, oh dear, else ever. Yeah, Dave Lewis has got, I think he's got one of those little, is that 25 watt orange, Dave? I can't remember. He sent me a photograph of it. So I think of Johnny Rockstar has a guitar I might want to try out. A gold top. Here's the thing, I got I mean, because I'm using the YouTube studio thing, I can't do screen presentations or anything like that, but I got a 1994 Orville last week, and I posted a picture of it before. The previous owner, or the previous owner's ex-girlfriend, had carved their initials like into the top, all the way through the lacquer, right into the wood. So I thought about trying to fix it, and I had a wee go, and it didn't go very well, if I'm being honest. So I took it to a guitar repair shop in Edinburgh, and the guy's going to just respray the top for me. And I thought about getting another. I need to let my cat in. Hold on a second, folks. There's my little cat, look. Oh, it's just to sit in my bed when I'm in this room. Like I said, it's not all rock and roll. Where was it? Yes, so I thought about getting it finished gold top, but I've got a couple of gold tops. So I think I'm going to get it done blue sparkle, you know, like the 70s Gibson Deluxes, or maybe sort of fire engine red, like Gibson did their Firebirds in sort of 64. So I'm going to get the top refinished, but I've always wanted a blue sparkle deluxe. I had the chance to buy one in 1986 when I bought my first Gibson, and it was £50 more expensive than the Gibson 81 Gibson Custom that I bought, and I didn't buy it. So I could have owned a 76 Les Paul Blue Sparkle Deluxe for about £575. It's the one that got away, folks. The one that got away. Yeah, Dave's got a couple of Sire Larry Carlton. Is it Darryl Braun that's just done the Sire videos? I think he's going to be I don't know if he's partnered up with him or something like that. He's going to be doing a whole series of reviewing the Sire guitars. So it'll be interesting. Dave says they're really good, and I think he got another one as well. Did you get another one? A white one as well? Dave's going to have more guitars than me. Tenants. Slave to the cat, indeed. Look at my little cat. She's all happy. Yeah, the Sire guitars again. It's not a brand I've tried. I haven't seen them in any shops here either. I don't know if Guitar have them. I think Andertons do them, but you know, I've never tried one. Yeah, they've got the Terror stamp and a tiny Terror. I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to seeing pictures of Dave Lewis's studio when it's all set up. I mean, the amount of gear he's got is incredible. So, yeah, is that us for questions, folks? I'm happy to answer anything you want to make. If you want any football predictions or anything like that, give me a shout. I'll see what I can do. If not, I don't know if I've got anything else to say. Oh, did I show you I've got a 63 Melody Maker. Remember my 63 Melody Maker? It was almost Jobby Brown, the same colour as my Opel Cadet, and somebody had like hand painted it with like household varnish. I mean, it's the sort of job that I would make of it. But what I did was I stripped all the varnish off. I don't know if you'll see it in this light, to be honest. I stripped all the varnish off, and I used one of the Crimson Guitar cherry stains. And then I didn't want to highly polish it, because I mean this guitar's older than me. 63 Melody Maker, but it's came up quite well. I say it doesn't look great in this light, and I've kept. This is like a Japanese DiMarzio Super Distortion copy. It's all Japanese hardware that's on it. I got this from Germany, so the previous owner of this guitar was obviously a fan of Japanese guitars as well as, this is obviously a Gibson. It's all Japanese hardware that's put on it. So I was saying the other day there to someone, these are probably the last of the, affordable Gibsons up to sort of 65, 66 or something like that. If you ever see one of these, I mean, if it's in, because I've got this and I've got the 65 as well, which I actually prefer. I mean, these are both highly modified guitars. I mean, this has got humbuckers in as well. But if you ever see, like, say these are one of the last pre-Norlin era Gibsons that are affordable. If you ever see one of these, for £1,000 or something like that, I would, and it's been, it's been upgraded. I don't know, upgraded, downgraded for £1,000. These are incredible guitars. This is without a doubt the best guitar I've ever owned. Playing wise, it's just so comfortable. It's got the best neck ever. I think this is early 65, because late 65 they went to the slim nut width. So the earlier 65, 64, early 65s have got a wider nut, so a standard Gibson nut width, but then they moved to, I don't know, 11/8 or something. I don't know. But yeah, so if you ever see a Gibson Melody Maker, I would, a 65 one, I would buy it. I'm always on the lookout for 65 Melody Makers. This is the best guitar I've ever owned. It's not the most expensive one I've ever owned, but playing wise, and I mean, I take this out when I'm doing covers gigs. Like I'm in a pub full of drunk people and a stage full of drunk musicians, and I take this with me as well, because if I get a scratch on this, it's not going to make any difference. So my only advice when it comes to guitars is, if you see a 60s Melody Maker at a good price, I would definitely think about getting one. If you don't like the thinner nut width, then go for pre-65. You'll get a standard Gibson nut width. So that's my only advice on guitar buying. Right. So, we're only Harley Benton. Well, Dave's only got 4 Larry Carltons. I bet Larry Carlton doesn't have as many as Dave. 4. You see that? I kicked it with my foot. God, the wee cat. Oh, I clown those. Did the cat come out the last time you were around? I can't remember. She's very shy. Harley Benton purchase. Very easy, Gordon. They paid, I think, if it's over 130 or 734 or something. If it's over that, then I think they sort out the import duty and stuff like that, because that was 166 delivered, and that's through customs and everything. So check on the Toman website. But it was just super easy. I mean, it was no hassle at all. All the costs are paid up front. It's not like, how if we're importing things from Japan and that, you don't get it until you've paid the import. When you get something from Toman, the Harley Benton stuff, it's all paid up front. So I mean, it's worth considering. Like this is a beautiful guitar. I mean, I could probably be in a Kiss covers band with this. And you've seen my covers band. We do Kiss songs. But I mean, it's spectacular. For £166, that's madness. Right. Yeah, Dave, I saw that. I saw Darren's video against his Fender. Was it his Fender Standard or something like that? And I'm not here to knock anybody else's channel. That's not what I'm about. But he did seem like he had set out deliberately to say this guitar is better than the Fender and is £200 cheaper. But if maybe it is, I've never tried one of these. It maybe is better than the Fender. I don't know. And Darren's tried enough guitars to tell what's good and bad. Yeah, so that's the Harley Benton. Way easier than Zen Market. It's all done up front. When you pay that payment, that's it. Next thing you know, it comes to your door, and then your wife answers the door, and you get in trouble for buying another guitar. It's as simple as that. Reminiscent of the Paul Chapman, yeah. Non-reverse Firebird. Yeah, Cream de Marzi on the bridge, yeah, that's right. He was on Top of the Pops in the UK when they did Doctor Doctor. Live version of that, he was miming along on these non-reverse Firebird. Yeah, Paul Chapman, it was so sad when he died, you know. It's still a young man. I'm a huge fan, like myself and Rockstar. We grew up listening to the Paul Chapman era albums. I mean, isn't that I don't like the Schenker. I absolutely love the Schenker era. I mean, if you said to me, what's the best live album guitar playing wise, I think it would be Strangers in the Night. I mean, the rumour is Schenker didn't overdub a single note on that. You know, it's unbelievable. And I love the Schenker albums, but when we started the band, the thing that we listened to was those Paul Chapman era albums. I mean, I think the first song that we recorded was probably I did the opening riff of Only You Can Rock Me. I think I played in a different order, and we wrote a song called Don't Blame It on Susie. I mean, it should have been Don't Blame It on Dunsy, but it was really my fault because I just took the UFO riff and put it wrong way around. But yeah, the Paul Chapman era of UFO, love it. How excited were we when we saw Wasted? Yeah, that was a funny one. We saw Wasted at the Calder Glen Rock Festival in August 84. Was it August 84? And it was Neil Shepherd playing guitar. So he replaced Ronnie Cafield. Ronnie Cafield played on the first. What a guitar player Ronnie Cafield is. Unbelievable. He replaced Ronnie Cafield, and then it was Neil Shepherd who went on to be in the Tigers. Of Pantang. I digress. So we saw Wasted with Neil Shepherd, and it wasn't very good. I mean, was Pete not sick on stage as well? I'm sure Finn says, Pete's just been sick. Pete's just been sick on stage. And Neil Shepherd was a good player, but I mean, he wasn't suited for Wasted. But then we were going to see Maiden next again month, 84. What was Maiden album in 84? Was that? I can't remember. But it was Wasted with the support. So we expected it to be Neil Shepherd. We hadn't heard it. You know, it wasn't like that. There was no internet. Kerrang hadn't come out for that week. We didn't know who was playing guitar. So the lights go down. The Wasted Iron Maiden show at the Edinburgh Playhouse, like my video the week there. And the intro riff of Won't Get Alive. And out walks Tonka with a black Les Paul Custom. It was like, it's Tonka. Tonka's in Wasted. I'm getting hairs on the back of my neck. Standing up, even thinking about that. It was you couldn't believe Paul Chapman or John Wasted. It was like Pete and Paul back together. And it was Andy Parker was back on drums as well. Oh man, here I am. I'm getting excited. That was 40 years ago? 30 odd years ago. I'm getting excited about it again. So yeah, Paul Chapman when he joined Wasted. Brilliant stuff. Power Slave. Could have been Power Slave. Was Power Slave who? I can't remember. Grand Prix. When did Grand Prix support Maiden? Grand Prix support Maiden in 85 or something? Can't remember. Living Above the 12, man. He's always got the best gigs. You know, he'll post like I saw these 3 bands at the one gig, and because it's a funny thing. Like I say to my friend Fred, and he's from Detroit. So like Fred will say, he saw Tom Petty and the Runaways, and who's the other band? Cheap Trick, all on the one bill at the Royal Oak in Michigan. So I would consider that like the best bill, but then he would say, well, who did you see? And we'd say, we saw Motorhead and Saxon. Like Motorhead would tour every year, Saxon would tour every year, and he never got the opportunity to see bands like that. So I guess it's different. But Living Above the 12th, man, what's this one? UFO supported by Riot. Oh man, I was I think in my Saxon video I mentioned Riot, and I was saying that if I was going to do I've done a couple of Riot covers and a couple of Riot lessons. I'd have to do a whole series. I'd have to do like a 1 hour video about Riot, because they're just, you know, Fire Down Under. From the first time I heard Fire Down Under to now, which is 40 years or something like that, it's been in my top 10 albums, regardless of what's came out in the meantime. Did you talk into the camera? Sorry. Regardless of what's came out in the meantime, that has stayed in my top 10 albums. I mean, it's that good. It's one of the greatest albums that's ever been recorded. And he saw them, UFO, not double bill. Have you picked your playlist for Scotland Rocks Radio next Thursday? I haven't yet, Dave. No, I haven't. I like to keep a theme, and I normally come up with the theme like the day before. So I'm not entirely sure of what the theme will be. I mean, if you have an idea, do let me know. Gordon was at the Wasted gigs there. I'm sure Gordon was the same as me and Rab. Once we saw it was Paul Chapman. It was like, oh man, so UFO back together with Finn singing rather than Phil. Yeah, I mean, growing up in the New York area, I guess. I mean, myself and Johnny Rockstar, we grew up in the sort of place that Gordon lives now. You know, like, no electricity. You could tell people who weren't from there because they had shoes. You know, that's the sort of place that we lived in. And we had to come to Edinburgh to see gigs, and public transport was a nightmare. So we missed a load of good gigs simply because of where we grew up. New York must have been fantastic. UFO and the Misdemeanor to the Barrowlands. Oh yeah, that was that Cheyenne FM? UFO Cheyenne FM. Was that the Barrowlands in 85, was it? Can't remember. I'm reminiscing about heavy metal. I could be here all night, folks, but I'm going to cut it at an hour. I'm only doing 1 hour. Bishball Boom, yeah, John. Fire Down Under. It's one of these albums where there is not a single song, even flashbacks, you know, like at the end. Even that, there's nothing bad on that album. It's just one of the greatest albums of all time, and it's a sin. It's a sin that Riot didn't become huge, you know, like, and then like Guy left, and then Righto Forrester. I didn't mind Restless Breed. I thought that was okay. And the Riot live album, you know, the 5-track mini live album, Loved by You is great on that actually. I didn't mind them, but I wasn't Guy Speranza. And then did Rhett not get killed in a robbery or a drive-by shooting or something like that? And I think Guy died maybe 10 years ago as well, and then Mark Reale died as well. So yeah, I don't know why Riot didn't become big. I mean, I think they were probably bigger here. They supported Saxon on the. I'll get one of my props here. Supported Saxon on the Denim and Leather tour. I don't know why Riot didn't become just one of these bands who should have been huge, but just never really made it. Terrible. Sam Black, I'm good, sir. I'm good. I hope you are too. Atomic Tommy, yeah. It's a funny one, Atomic Tommy. I was going to do a couple of songs from Misdemeanor, and I watched some of the live video, and Tommy's such a good player. But for me, I don't think it was as much his style. I don't think his sound, like his guitar sound, it just seemed really abrasive, you know what I mean? Abrasive for UFO, and I'm not. I think there's some good songs on Misdemeanor, and what's the album after it with the naked lady holding a gun? Can't remember. Yeah, I think he was a great player. Really fast runs and stuff. But see, I don't even think it was his style. I think it was just more his sound. To me, UFO didn't sound right like that. I'm not saying it's rubbish. I'm just, you know, if you came to that era of UFO and that was the first era of UFO you heard, great tunes still, but if you'd heard Chapman and Schenker era, you were thinking, I don't know. I mean, is it Misdemeanor and I can't remember that one. I've got it on CD somewhere. Outlaw, Fire Down Under. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Like I say, even Flashbacks, which is just like an instrumental and talking and stuff like that. Everything's 10 out of 10. There is not a bad song on Fire Down Under. I'll have a fight with anybody who says there's a bad song on Fire Down Under. Brilliant stuff. Ah, yeah. What about that? Angel, Punky Meadows, man. I got a message on Facebook saying Punky Meadows from Angel has just shared your video. I was like, what? What the Punky Meadows has just shared my video? And sure enough, Punky Meadows had shared my Angel lesson and cover to his Facebook group. Couldn't believe it. I love Angel. I couldn't believe it. So he did that, and Raven as well. Mark Gallagher shared my Raven, or maybe John, it was either Mark or John, shared my Raven cover to like the Raven Facebook. Yeah, it's like if you said to that young lad, in 1981, 82 in Armadale, the guy from this band that you just bought their album, he'll be sharing this on some crazy thing called the internet in 40 years. I'd have went, get out of here, man. But strange things happen. Making Contact, that was the last album with Chapman. No, it was Misdemeanor, and I could do a search, but I'm worried that I've never used this before. I'm worried that if I click on a button, I'll just stop it. So Making Contact, I can't remember. Yes. So we're almost at an hour. I think that's probably enough. Unless there's any last minute questions, I'll do a quick. And I have to say, huge thank you for anybody tuning in. This is the first one I've done, so I was a bit nervous, but I'm happy to talk about heavy metal, talk about guitars, talk about Aerosmith, talk about the Joe Perry project. I've got my. I'm going to be doing a full video on the Joe Perry project, and I looked at my small amount of the Joe Perry project bootleg that I own. I think there's 42. I've got 42 live Joe Perry shows on CD, just in case I was missing anything. So if you ever want to chat about the Joe Perry project, then just drop me an email. And one almost final thing, I'll show you this again. Me and Johnny Rockstar back in the day, being anything but rock stars in Armadale, sitting on a Opel Cadet estate, 1976 in Jobby Brown. So with that in mind, I will sign off. And a huge thank you, folks. I really, really do appreciate everybody taking the time out of your day to tune in. So I will be back later in the month with, I've still got 3 Diamond Head videos, a Tank video, and a Saxon video. And Mrs. Dunsy said she might do her end of year appearance in one of my videos as well. So I'll need to write a script for that. Okay. Thank you, folks. Cheers for now.